In the dense forests of the Pacific Northwest, rumors of a mysterious creature had been circulating for years. People talked of a massive, hairy beast with human-like features, standing at least 8 feet tall and weighing over 500 pounds. The creature was said to be incredibly elusive, leaving only fleeting glimpses and footprints in its wake. But for those who believed, there was no doubt that Bigfoot was out there. For years, people had searched the forests for evidence of the creature, but most came back empty-handed. That was until one day, when a group of hikers stumbled upon a set of massive footprints in the mud. The prints were over 18 inches long and nearly 8 inches wide, with a deep indentation where the heels should be. The hikers couldn't believe their luck, and they eagerly followed the trail of footprints deeper into the forest. As they walked, the hikers began to feel uneasy. The forest was unnaturally quiet, and there was a sense of foreboding in the air. But they pressed on, eager to catch a glimpse of the creature they had been searching for. Finally, they saw it. Standing in a clearing up ahead was a massive, hairy creature, unlike anything they had ever seen. It was at least 8 feet tall, with long, shaggy hair that covered its entire body. Its arms were longer than a human's, and it had a broad, flat face with a prominent brow ridge. The hikers froze, unsure of what to do. The creature was staring directly at them, its eyes glinting in the dappled sunlight. Suddenly, it let out an ear-piercing scream that echoed through the forest. The hikers were paralyzed with fear, unsure of whether to run or stay put. But as suddenly as it had appeared, the creature was gone. It disappeared into the forest, leaving the hikers trembling and bewildered. Word of the encounter spread quickly, and soon people from all over the world were flocking to the Pacific Northwest in search of Bigfoot. Some claimed to have seen the creature themselves, while others shared stories of strange sounds and footprints in the forest. But despite the mounting evidence, the scientific community remained skeptical. Without hard, tangible proof, they dismissed the legend of Bigfoot as nothing more than a myth. But for those who had seen the creature with their own eyes, there was no doubt that Bigfoot was real. They dedicated their lives to finding the creature, braving harsh weather conditions and dangerous terrain in their quest for the truth. One man in particular became obsessed with the legend of Bigfoot. His name was Tom, and he had been fascinated by the creature since he was a child. Tom had spent years researching Bigfoot, poring over books and articles and studying every bit of evidence he could find. He had even gone on expeditions into the wilderness, searching for signs of the creature himself. But despite his years of dedication, Tom had never seen Bigfoot. That is, until one fateful day. Tom was hiking deep in the forest, following a trail that he had been told was frequented by the creature. He had been walking for hours, but he had yet to see any signs of Bigfoot. As the sun began to set, Tom started to feel discouraged. He was about to turn back when he heard something rustling in the bushes up ahead. He froze, unsure of what to do, but as he listened, he heard the unmistakable sound of heavy breathing. Tom slowly made his way closer to the sound, his heart pounding in his chest, and then he saw it. Standing in a clearing up ahead was the creature he had been searching for his entire life. It was massive, towering over Tom at over 8 feet tall, with long, shaggy hair that covered its entire body. Its broad, flat face stared directly at Tom, and for a moment, he was too stunned to move. But then the creature let out a deep, guttural growl, and Tom knew he had to act fast. He pulled out his camera and began snapping pictures, desperate to capture evidence of the creature he had been seeking for so long. As he took photos, the creature began to move. It lumbered towards Tom, its massive footsteps shaking the ground beneath him. Tom was paralyzed with fear, unsure of what to do. But then, as suddenly as it had appeared, the creature disappeared back into the forest. Tom was left alone, trembling and in shock. He had finally seen Bigfoot with his own eyes, and he knew that his life would never be the same. Tom's encounter made headlines around the world, and he became an overnight celebrity in the Bigfoot community. People from all over the world contacted him, wanting to hear more about his experience and hoping to catch a glimpse of the creature themselves. Tom dedicated the rest of his life to studying Bigfoot, spending countless hours analyzing his photos and scouring the forests for more evidence of the creature's existence. He became a renowned expert in the field, and his work helped to legitimize the search for Bigfoot in the scientific community. Despite Tom's groundbreaking research, however, Bigfoot remains one of the world's most elusive creatures. Some believe that it is a remnant of an ancient species, while others think it may be an undiscovered primate. Whatever the truth may be, one thing is certain. The legend of Bigfoot will continue to captivate and fascinate people for generations to come. Story 2: Yeti. Deep in the snow-capped peaks of the Himalayas, there lurks a creature that has captured the imaginations of people all over the world for centuries. It is known as the Yeti, a massive humanoid creature with long, shaggy fur and enormous feet that leave deep footprints in the snow. Many believe that the Yeti is nothing more than a myth, a creature dreamed up by people living in the remote and inhospitable Himalayas. But there are others who insist that the creature is real, and they have dedicated their lives to finding evidence of its existence. One such person is Dr. Emma Burke, a biologist from London who has spent her entire career studying the flora and fauna of the Himalayas. Emma had heard stories of the Yeti since she was a child, and she had always been intrigued by the possibility that the creature might actually exist. So when she was given a grant to study the biodiversity of the region, she jumped at the chance to search for the elusive creature. For weeks, Emma and her team trekked through the rugged mountains, battling high altitudes, frigid temperatures, and treacherous terrain. They set up camp in remote areas where Yeti sightings had been reported, and they spent hours scouring the snow for any evidence of the creature's existence. At first, they found nothing, but one morning, as they were making their way through a particularly dense section of forest, they heard a low growling sound coming from the trees. Emma froze, her heart pounding in her chest. She had heard stories of the Yeti's ferocious temper and feared that they might be in danger. But as the creature emerged from the trees, Emma felt a surge of excitement and disbelief. There, standing before her, was a massive creature with long, shaggy fur and piercing blue eyes. Its massive feet were covered in tufts of snow, and its breath hung in the air like a thick fog. For a moment, Emma could do nothing but stare. She had spent her entire life studying the natural world, but she had never seen anything like this. The Yeti was unlike any creature she'd ever seen. and she knew that she was witnessing something truly extraordinary. As the creature approached them, Emma and her team remained frozen in place. But to their surprise, the Yeti did not seem aggressive or hostile. It simply stood there, gazing at them with an intense, almost curious expression. For the next hour, Emma and her team observed the creature from a safe distance. They took photos and videos, recorded the creature's sounds, and collected samples of its fur and footprints. They knew that this would be their only chance to study the creature up close, and they were determined to make the most of it. As the day wore on, the Yeti eventually disappeared back into the forest, leaving Emma and her team stunned and amazed. They knew that their discovery would be met with skepticism and ridicule by some, but they were convinced that they had witnessed something truly incredible. Over the following months, Emma and her team pored over the evidence they had collected. They conducted DNA tests on the fur samples and analyzed the recordings they had made, and in the end, they came to a remarkable conclusion. The Yeti was not a myth, but a real creature that existed in the remote mountains of the Himalayas. Their discovery made headlines around the world, and Emma became a celebrity overnight. But for her, the discovery was just the beginning. She knew that there was still so much more to learn about the Yeti, and she was determined to continue her research and shed light on one of the world's greatest mysteries. In the years that followed, Emma devoted her life to studying the Yeti. She led expeditions into the Himalayas, tracking the creature's movements and behavior. She set up motion-activated cameras in the forests, hoping to capture more footage of the elusive creature. And she even worked with local communities to gather stories and legends about the Yeti, hoping to better understand the creature's role in local culture. As her research continued, Emma began to uncover some surprising facts about the Yeti. She learned that the creature was not the bloodthirsty monster that many people had believed it to be, but rather a shy and reclusive animal that preferred to avoid human contact whenever possible. She also discovered that the Yeti was a highly intelligent creature, capable of solving complex problems and adapting to changing environments. Despite her groundbreaking research, however, Emma's work was not without controversy. Skeptics and critics accused her of promoting a hoax, and some even claimed that she had fabricated her evidence. But Emma refused to be deterred by the naysayers. She knew that the truth was out there, and she was determined to uncover it. Then, one fateful day, Emma's life was changed forever. She was leading a team of researchers on a high-altitude trek when a sudden avalanche struck, burying them in tons of snow and ice. As they struggled to free themselves, Emma felt a sharp pain in her leg. She looked down to see that she had been impaled by a shard of ice, and she knew that her injury was severe. With no medical help available, Emma and her team were forced to make a harrowing journey back to civilization. It was a grueling trek, and Emma's injury made it all the more difficult, but she refused to give up. She knew that her research was too important to abandon, and she was determined to get back to work as soon as possible. Eventually, Emma made a full recovery, and she returned to the Himalayas to continue her research. But the experience had changed her. She had come face to face with the limits of human endurance and mortality, and she realized that her obsession with the Yeti had blinded her to the other wonders of the world around her. So she began to broaden her focus, studying not just the Yeti, but the entire ecosystem of the Himalayas. She learned about the unique flora and fauna of the region, the complex interplay between climate and geography, and the ways in which local communities had adapted to survive in such a harsh and unforgiving environment. And through it all, she never lost her fascination with the Yeti. She continued to study the creature, hoping to unlock the secrets of its behavior and biology. And though her work would always be met with skepticism and disbelief by some, she knew that she had witnessed something truly extraordinary. For Emma Burke, the Yeti was not just a creature of myth and legend. It was a living, breathing part of the natural world, a creature that had captivated her imagination and driven her to new heights of scientific discovery. And as long as the Yeti remained hidden in the remote peaks of the Himalayas, Emma would continue to search for it, driven by a passion and curiosity that knew no bounds.